What's the number one thing trending on Google Trends today? A TV show. Severance. Why? What a world we live in. By the way, quite a view today. I'm in Europe. Think about this. What the show says is it's about this fictional story that the people live two lives without knowing it. One is as an employee and one is their personal life. But in actuality, that's what's been happening for the last 100 years of the industrial society we live in. And my life mission has been to break that. To break that. There's no division in my life between health, wealth, love, happiness. They all work together. I make money when I'm in the gym. Health and wealth together. I don't go to a 9 to 5. The last time I went to a 9 to 5, I was 16. I worked at Office America, like a, department store. I decided to go my own way, and I encourage you to do the same, because this dystopian Severance TV show, which is essentially saying, oh, in this TV show, people live two different lives. Yeah, that's been happening. That's the hell on earth that humans have been living for the last 100 years. When my grandma was born, she died sadly when she was 102. She was born in 1918. 90% of the world lived in an integrated lifestyle. I call my life philosophy the 4 pillars of the good life. Health, wealth, love, happiness. Health, wealth, love, happiness. An integrated life. There's no separation. I don't live 4 different lives. One where I'm healthy, one where I'm making money, one where I'm having social life, friends, family, romance, one where I'm only happy, like, thank God it's Friday. TGIF Fridays, such a big modern world concept. There's a restaurant around it. That, oh, on Fridays I'm happy. This divide in how we live is hell on earth. That's why that TV show's the number one thing. It's the number one thing people in America are Googling today. Different phrases about this TV show. Why are we so fascinated? Probably because we realize this is the hellscape that most people are living. And so what you have to do, what's the 3 practical things you can do? And I don't care if you're watching this and you're broke or if you're making $1 million a month. I was just on the call with one of my private clients, Nicholas. You guys have probably seen him, Nicholas Pede. He was one of the first people that became a millionaire essentially as a teenager from getting into my programs, the 67 steps. And I was talking to him, now he makes a lot of money. I'm not going to divulge confidentials, but millions. This is a multi-millionaire. And I said, he's asking me questions, my advice. And I said, don't separate your life. Don't think of, well, what if right now I should just grind away, close the doors, make more money, not go out on the weekends, not date, no friends, no love. I see this being taught a lot on social media. Like, focus in your 20s so you can enjoy your 30s. Well, life ain't that simple. You can grind away in your 20s, like Jeff Bezos says. You can grind away for 5 years with no results, and then suddenly it kicks in. So you don't know. If you sacrifice your 20s, you don't date, you don't enjoy life, you never go to a club, you never go to parties, you just go to the gym and make money. Or maybe you don't even go to the gym because you're under this impression that the severance life that you should now separate out. 20s is when you make money. Well, there's no biological truth. If anything, 20s is when you'll have, for men and women, you have the healthiest reproductive system. For men, the lowest DNA fragmentation in their sperm, and women, not obviously women don't have sperm, but they have essentially the ability to repair DNA damage. I mean, a lot of things are best in your 20s. So really, love, friends, family, romance, it should be focused on in your 20s. That's how we're built. You can't change biology because of your little pop culture idea. So 20s, what? 20s, if anything, if we were logical, 20s would be not devoted to making money, because it's the concept in economics of competitive advantage. What can you do in your 20s that's hard to do in your 60s? Can you make money in your 60s? Yeah. Can you have kids in your 60s? Women, no. Men, harder. Men, harder. So therefore, competitive advantage, your 20s, you have a competitive advantage in social life, love, children. Men have the highest testosterone, essentially from 18 to 28. So you can build the most muscle in the gym. So why would you not go to the gym in your 20s? So don't live the quote-unquote severance nightmare where you've divided your life up, or you've divided years of your life. And it's a slippery slope, man. People go, oh, it's better to be unhappy, stress yourself out in your 20s, 30s, 40s, because then you'll retire and be able to relax. Well, many men who have followed that philosophy regret it. I talk about Rockefeller in his 50s. He definitely sacrificed his 20s, 30s, 40s to become the richest man even now in history, modern history, 600 billion equivalent net worth, in a time when the U.S. economy was a couple trill or whatever. He says, all the wealth I've accumulated did not compensate me for the stress that I went through. So there's a man who made the most money, and he's like, shouldn't have done this. Bill Gates, I saw recently, said, my regret is I worked too hard. Essentially, he got you have exponential benefits from wealth at the beginning. If you I remember going from broke to making my first million or whatever, and there's a big increase in your happiness. But eventually, it wears off. There's not as big of a jump in improvement in your life from 1 million to 2 million. No, not at all. If you graph out happiness and fulfillment, your first 0 to 1 million is infinitely, not infinitely, but almost infinitely different than going from 1 million to 2 million. And we know why. Part of that's the dopamine structures of the brain, the novelty that humans enjoy. But it's also because what can you do differently if you make 2 million versus 1 million? Nothing. It's not like you can afford a private jet when you make 1 million and then go to 2 million. No, you don't step up some crazy change in lifestyle. You just, in many ways, sometimes have more problems, more money, more problems, more heartache, more employees, more staff, more potential lawsuits, more things, more government intervention, more you know, more IRS issues. So actually, and this is for a whole nother video, what I told Nicholas on today's call is that the way out of this problem, which is human life has now been separated. Like we walk on a treadmill. So we divide out our walking into a time we do in this sterile gym versus our ancestors used to walk to do things. So we've separated walking even into a gym activity. And it's actually not healthy to walk on a flat surface like a treadmill. That's why you get carpal. That's why people who jog on concrete, eventually their knees give out, because humans were built to run up hills, uneven surfaces, different pressure levels on the knees and the ligaments. So when you separate things out into an artificial life, you get horrible outcomes in every way. Now, what I told him, switching subjects slightly, but not that much, you know, here's the thing. If you're watching this and you're trying to go from your 0 to make your first real money to where you get financial freedom, okay, that's going to come from grinding and hard work. And essentially, but I don't want you to grind and work so hard that you sacrifice your 20s or your 30s or even your 40s in hopes of future wealth. No, but you'll have to grind. Now, for those of you watching who are at the $1 million level already, your next big jump in health, wealth, love, happiness, especially in wealth, will be bestowed upon you. I was watching this show, Boardwalk Empire. You may have seen it. It's, you know, one of the great HBO shows, kind of like Sopranos, but around the early 1900s during Prohibition. And, you know, you have this time where in New Jersey, there was this complicated Nookie Thompson guy. Anyway, there's a flashback in the very last episode, and it shows the main character as a little boy, and he's talking to kind of his mentor, who's kind of this bad guy. But he says to him, you know what I don't like about you, little boy? He's kind of mentoring him. The kid's 18 or something. You know what I don't like about you, son? You think you're going to work for it. You don't understand. It's bestowed upon you. It's given to you. And so what I'm saying, for those of you who have broken out of this dystopian life, the 9-to-5 grind, the health, wealth, happiness all being not an integrated lifestyle. Like today, I've been working while getting my 10,000 steps, while going to eat some of the best food in the world up there. And I stepped out to do this video. There's no separation. I learned that from the Amish. I learned that from Joel Salatin. Farmers don't separate their life. They work hard while they're making their wealth, their money, with their kids, love, and they're outside, and so they're getting happiness all in one moment, not in an office like Severance, where you're in a corporation. And then you hate your day 9 to 5, and you're cooped up, and there's no walking, and there's no exercise, and there's no family, and there's no love. And then you do that, and then you leave work, and you drive home to your kids at 5 o'clock. Dude, that's the hell on earth. I remember I was dating a girl once. I knew we had to break up. I was like, what's your dream? She goes, my dream is me and you get married. We have 2 kids. We live in the suburbs outside of LA. And we have 2 children. And, you know, you work a nice 9-to-5 job. You make good money, but, you know, you're not working too hard. So we can go on vacations to Disneyland. And I remember thinking, she just described as her heaven on earth. She described my hell on earth. That's like Severance. I'm like, what? You want that? Some people have been so brainwashed. So I'm no longer with her. She's a great woman. But that was the final, like, oh, we don't, we're 2 different species. So anyway, going back to this bestowed upon you, if you understand, if you're in my side of the world philosophy, where you don't, your dream life is not a 9 to 5. If your dream life is 9 to 5, don't have much responsibility, go to the gym in the morning, wake up at 7, send the kids to school, they go to some public school, you see them at night when you get home, and you do that for 30 years, you might as well unsubscribe from all my social media. We are almost opposite religions, you could say. It's like if you're a Satanist and I'm a Christian, like we're opposite. Okay, but for those of you who are on my side and you're like, yeah, that's how life was meant to be lived, the integrated life, then listen to what I'm saying. If you're already making a mill, this is for not all of them, but if you're living that integrated life, health, wealth, happiness, and you made your first $1 million a year or whatever, gross or net, doesn't even matter, or 10 million or 100 million, the next step for you to ramp to jump up on wealth will not come from an increase in hard work. In fact, it'll probably come from less work. It will be bestowed upon you. Let me give you an example. 2014. I had decided I want to build my personal brand, this one that you're following now. I started in 2009, but I started slow, you know. I remember there's a video of me uploading a video. I have it on my phone. It's sadly my friend Zach, who died. Since then, we're at the comedy Laugh Factory in Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood, and I go, hey man, there's a new app on YouTube just came out. Remember, YouTube was kind of new. I said, I can just upload this video we're shooting right now. And that was like 08 or 09. So I know I started my personal brand as we know it today, doing these kind of vlogs in 09. So it's been, it's been more than 15 years. Now, I started making money. I forget what I was making in 2009, 10, 11 from my personal brand. Let's say 10,000 a month, probably. I had other businesses. By then I had already, I had many businesses before then, my personal brand, making millions a year. But let's say my personal brand started in 09. I remember doing my first podcast. Richard Dawkins, the scientist, was on audio only. There was no video podcast. And so I, or very few, interviewed him, and I was making 10 G's a month. Then I kind of worked really hard, because you got to work hard at the beginning, the inception point. And so I was probably making, let's say I got up to, I don't remember, but let's just hypothetically say I got up to 50,000 a month. And I'm like, ooh, okay. The step order function where I didn't just so I'm working hard and my income's just kind of on a nice slope upward. It's a great feeling. But it didn't go whoosh up in 1 week until I understood the principle from Boardwalk Empire that wealth must be bestowed upon you, my brother, my sister. Once you reach the critical mass of where hard work gets you to your first 100K or your first million a year, it will not be hard work. You won't gradually go from 100K a year to 10 million. There will be a step order function where one day it'll just leap up. And I remember different days in my career. One of them was 2014. I was being around the right people. This is networking and mentoring. The 7 multipliers of wealth, the highest one, the highest 2 is really your network and your mentors. The 7 multipliers of wealth, like tech, like marketing, like capital raising. The highest, I have a whole system. For those of you in my more advanced program, you can't buy it on my website, but I teach my more advanced clients this 7 multiplier system. So 2014, my income's going up. I'm maybe at 50,000 a month, whatever, from my personal brand, not counting my other businesses. And I'm like, okay, I want to make more. Luckily, I knew by that time, it's not going to come by, I was already working 8 hours a day. I can't work triple. So I'm like, if I want to make triple the money, it can't come from triple the hours. There's not enough moments in the day. This universe has not bestowed upon us anything more than 24 hours in a day, and our body sleeps on that cycle. So I was like, I got to be around the right people. So I was part of masterminds, and I remember in 2014, it was before Halloween. So it was approximately September 2014. I'm at this dinner. I've never been able to meet the guy and thank him because I don't remember who it was. We're eating at like a mastermind. Other entrepreneurs, mentors were there. And he turns to me after talking for 10 minutes. He's like, hey, you'd be good on YouTube ads. I'm like, oh, what's that? I know YouTube. He's like, yeah, they just rolled out an ads program, pre-roll. You'll show up before the video. So he's like, you should try it. Now, I didn't work hard for that. I was eating. So I started dabbling with that. December, I did a YouTube ad with my friend Jeremy, called it the Lamborghini Talks. I had a Lamborghini and I drove around with him in the passenger seat and drove around Santa Monica, just giving a talk. And it was like an ad to buy one of my training courses. 67 Steps was launched by then and in its inception. And so we launched it. I spent about 20,000 on ads, YouTube ads, this new thing, this gift that a guy had just given me, bestowed upon me. And I lost 19,000. I only made 1,000 back. Now, fortunate enough, I've learned diligence, perseverance is important to make money. So it didn't really dismay me. Yeah, I wasn't really dismayed, but I was kind of like, maybe this guy bestowed upon me something that's not that good, Maybe he bestowed upon me, hold on, let me put my hat back on. It's cold out here. He goes, maybe he bestowed upon me something. Sometimes people bestow upon you ideas that aren't that good. So, but I was like, let me give it another try. So January 21st, I shot a video. I said, that one I did with the Lamborghini in Santa Monica, the problem was it was too loud and distracting. I was driving. So why don't I just shoot a different video with the Lambo stationary behind me in the garage and weave a story, my life story about how I've also used books and I shot here in my garage, which in many ways is one of the most famous and widespread in terms of views ad in human history, even compared to TV. It's one of the big ones. I mean, they've studied, people at Harvard, students used to text me on my Instagram, hey, my professor's teaching you're here in my garage ad. Now, was wealth gradually built? No, I started making 50 to 100 G's a day net profit with no recurring billing, with no phone sales team. That was just the beginning. So I went from making 50,000 a month, and this idea bestowed upon me just shot me up to 100 G's a day sometimes. I remember more sometimes. But let's just use round numbers. 50 to 100,000 net in my pocket. No increase in staff. After I paid the marketing, I'd spend 50K a day or whatever, and I'd make 150 back. Again, no sales team, no, not all the stuff, no AI, none of that. Knowing, knowing what I know now, if AI existed, I could have made 300,000 a day just from one funnel, and it didn't burn out for a long time. Ran a year or something. So for those of you who are new watch the first half of this video. It's about understanding that you must have an integrated life. Don't sacrifice any of the 4 pillars of the good life: health, wealth, love, happiness. Even if you think it'll get you more wealth, resist that temptation. For those of you already making money, real money, resist the temptation to try to step up through pure hard work. It will be bestowed upon you. So what do you do to increase the chances that good ideas are bestowed upon you? New secrets, new hacks, new funnels, new conversion optimization lists. What do? Well, as I told you, in the 7 multipliers of wealth, the top 2 are your network. That's other peers that you hang out, people similar to you. That's what when I say network, I'm essentially saying that. But part of the network is another level, which is mentors. Someone who has what you want, but 20 years ahead of you. So where you want to be in 20 years, they're already there. So if you can increase the amount of times you're rubbing shoulders with your peers, people in the same industry or similar industries who are, grinding it out, and you exchange secrets, inner circle secrets. That's increasing the chance that new levels of wealth and lifestyle. This also has to do with health, love, and happiness. It's not just wealth, but it extra works on wealth, right? So as you rub shoulders with more people of peers, so you need to be on airplanes, you need to be going to have dinners, you need to stop being so introverted and so shy, you need to stop being such a self-sufficient narcissist. 7 types of narcissism. Entrepreneurs are highest in the deadly one called self-sufficiency, because you're probably the smartest person in your family when it comes to making money. So you think, oh, I'll figure it out, but this is a big bad world. You ain't smarter than all the entrepreneurs out there. There's always something to learn. So wealth will be bestowed upon you by rubbing shoulders with more peers, more conferences, more seminars. Now, how often? I'm not saying you got to go daily. Although I think there's a good phase in life where if you could go weekly to a new conference and seminar for 2 hours, what would be a better use? People try to argue me, oh, no, you should spend those 2 hours or better, set in front of a laptop thinking of a new funnel and think of it. No, it's not. Come on. You can only work hard anyway. If you look at top scientists, Matt Lieberman, you look at the Yale professor, one of my mentors, Professor Baumeister, you only have enough glucose for like 3 or 4 hours of intense laptop work, of high creativity work. So might as well spend I used to network daily. Every Sunday, I used to have a mastermind at my Hollywood house from like 2009 to 2014. After that, every night, I would go out socialize. And I made more and more money every year as I did that. And then I tried an experiment of after doing that, less of my income went down. So rub shoulders and then get those mentors. Don't just rub shoulders with your peers, although that is important. Wealth will also be bestowed upon you by the great mentors, the titans of the industry. The people who are, like I said, the richest person I've ever been mentored by is Steve Ballmer. And he told me things that I would never have gotten from my peers. He just bestowed upon me. He's like, here's how I raised kids so that I have kids who love me while I was the busiest man on earth, being the CEO of Microsoft for 20 years. And it's like, I didn't get that from my peers. I didn't work hard for it. He just bestowed upon, I paid him 250 grand. Had dinner with him. You can see some of the video on my Instagram if you scroll back a few years or Google it. It's like, just bestowed upon me stuff. So for those of you already rocking and rolling, what got you there will confuse you, because what got you to your first million was crazy levels of energy and hard work and grinding. Hopefully not too much, but and so you get confused and you go, well, to go from 1 million to 10 million, then I just worked 10 times. You won't be able to, not enough time in a damn day. So wealth, like Boardwalk Empire said, must start to become bestowed upon you. So pay if you have to. Now people say, oh, Ty, you're just saying pay for mentorship because you sell mentorship. No, I sell mentorship because for a decade before I sold it, I paid for it and I saw the results. People are factually completely nut job on this. I said, I started paying for mentorship in 2001. Corey Rudel. I paid Carlton Sheets a year later to learn real estate. Bought my first single family homes, 2004, 2005 in Raleigh, North Carolina. Profitable exit, sold them eventually. More than that, but that was the first 2. I began to pay more and more. 2006, I remember paying a consultant from Boston. I wanted to build a tech company. I didn't really know how to do it. He said, pay me 25 grand, I'll make some interest. I was like, whoa, that was a lot of money for me to just wire a guy. He flew down. And it's funny, the person he referred, one of them, is still one of my CTOs to this day. More than 15 years later, it's a good deal. So I began to pay. I began to reap the benefits. I began to join masterminds and conferences and buy more books. Till I built so I could download the great business ideas and life ideas from people who are dead. You can't get that. You got to use books. There's no other way to learn from Aristotle, Socrates, Plato, Adam Smith. There's no other way. They're dead. There's no YouTube videos. There's no voice recordings. So I began to use books. I began to use seminars. I began to do things in my house, network. I got out of my social comfort zone, had strangers around me who eventually turned into huge allies. Billionaires began to come to these events I would do. The people I would pay, and I've continued to do it to this day. And many millions of dollars have been wired out of my account to mentors, advisors, begin to get the best tax attorneys in the world, the best lawyers in the world, the best accountants, the best advisors at every level. Many millions have come out of my account. And I wouldn't, if anything, my biggest regret sometimes, I'm like, man, it's always, I should have paid a dude. The best social guy I've ever met, this guy talked about Drago, best guy with women ever. I know all the pickup artists. They're all great. I mean, not all great, but the ones I know are really good at what they do. But this guy, Drago's the best guy ever. He worked for my nightclub company, Triangle Fiesta, in Raleigh, North Carolina, Drago. And I always regret to this day, because I've lost touch with him. I don't know if he's alive or dead. He was a pretty wild man. But he introduced me to Scandinavia, by the way. I always go, man, if I had a time machine, I go back to 2004. I saw how he ran the door at my clubs, and I saw just magnetic hair. I'm good with social settings and women. Like, I'm not awkward. This guy was 20 times better than me. A titan. I should have paid him. You know, back then there wasn't even that mentality in the world. I was buying courses, and people thought these are guys getting scammed buying Carlton sheets. I'm like, it's not a scam. I paid him $300. I think it was $300 plus upsells, $1,000, and I learned how to buy my first real estate. I never would have bought it without the confidence I got. But I should have gone deeper. I've been like, Drago, you've never, and I've gone to many people, you've probably never been told this, but can I pay you? Because I want to pay you for your time. Don't think people go, oh, I'm not going to pay for it. I can get it all on YouTube. You really think the whole body of knowledge is on YouTube? You know, there's many people who are good at doing stuff who have never written a book. Steve Ballmer, ninth richest man to ever walk the earth. There's no book he wrote. Some people are just doers. So you can't learn from them for free because they never teach. But Drago had never taught anybody. I wish I had gone to him and said, Drago, I'll pay you $1,000 a month. He was kind of a broke guy. He worked in my clubs. I'll pay you $1,000 a month. All you have to do, let's go out once a month, 12 times a year. I'll pay you $12,000. I'll buy the drinks. Just let me watch you. Let me see he was just the king of confidence, and it was insane. Social skills I know all the top guys out there. Nobody's like this Drago guy. But he wasn't a teacher. He was actually an actor and a partier. Anyways, an alcoholic, sadly. So I don't know if he's alive. Drago, if you see this, please. I haven't heard from you in 8 to 10 years. But biggest regret? Not paying that mofo. So he could have just bestowed upon me what he knew. Not just paying. Bro, let me pay you. Who cares? Do you think that $1,000 I would have spent a month? Do you think I would still go, oh, I wish I invested that in index funds now? Like, what are you talking about? People think that way. Oh, I'll take every dollar. Well, if you pay $1,000 a month to Drago, if you have put in $12,000 in dollar cost averaged it into crypto didn't exist back then. It's 2004. And even if it did, it's not a higher return on investment of being a master of social settings. That's the highest echelon any man can ever achieve. It's not the wealthiest. You ever seen the video of Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world at the time, with his girlfriend? And here comes DiCaprio, the king of social settings, social status. And she's just looking at him like, forget Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. The highest echelon for a man is social aura, social status. And so, you know, somebody who doesn't understand the game of life, the good life, the integrated life, they're living the Severance TV show life. They'd be like, well, you got to put the $12,000 in by now. $12,000 in the index fund, instead of paying Drago for a year, you'd have $250,000. Yeah, for what? How would that make my life? If I had extra $250, it doesn't do anything in my life. But if I was twice as good as I am now socially, I would be living a different magnitude of life. It's a step order function up magnitude-wise. It's an exponential. I'm living a logarithmically lower life. It was a bad decision not to do it. So you live in a local area. You want to open a restaurant. There's a badass restaurant guy. You go hunt him down and pay him. Don't go for free. It's just so ironic that people never walk into a McDonald's, which is a diabetes machine. It essentially destroys cultures. And that people never go, you know, this hamburger, it's not much value. Can I just have it for free, please? No, we have no problem imparting value for hamburgers full of fillers and downer cow bullshit. But people go, oh, that's kind of weird. I just got off the phone with Dr. Martina Adshade, Marina Adshade, one of my mentors for 10 years, an economist, genius on the social structure. And she wrote a book on economics and sex, economics of sex. Fascinating woman. Been 8 years. She's still a mentor. I pay her. She never had somebody approach her. Dr. David Buss never had someone. I pay. So for those of you, stop being cheap with the most valuable thing you could ever have. And I'm not doing this so you buy my program. I know there's 1,000 programs. I'm not even saying programs. It might be somebody who's not even a mentor. Go hunt them down. I've had many people, even different years I've done a private one-on-one. From 2013 to now, I've done, but some years I took like 3 years off. I get people going, like 2020. Durham Maldonado, real estate developer's like, I wasn't doing any one-on-ones. He's like, I'll pay you. You know, I'll pay you 7 figures to partner, mentor. And I did, and he just sent me a video. He went from 20 million in real estate development to 600 million now. So he just hunted me down. Sam Ovens did the same thing. I wasn't even thinking that. Smart people. So whatever you want to learn, you hunt those people down, you pay them so that they may bestow upon you, so that you don't have to only... My curse to somebody, if I hated you and you were watching this video, I'd say, may this man grind out for every single thing he wants. May it be a grind. My blessing would be like, may this person grind so not everything comes easy, but may many important things simply be bestowed upon him. Just like if you were born healthy, that was just health bestowed upon you. No, nothing that I did made me. Just my parents, my mom happened to be healthy, my dad was healthy, and I was born healthy. May you have a life full of some hard work that you feel a sense of accomplishment and some bestowed, because it is a dystopian hell on earth to grind out for all that you want. Let some things be bestowed upon you. Okay. By the way, if you want to, I've got some supplemental stuff I can send you. Text me. I'll put my number below. It's a US number, real phone. I carry 2 phones with me, actually with me. It's a real iPhone. You can try to iMessage it. You'll see it's a blue check mark. Or WhatsApp's even better. Text me to the number in the caption or the first comment below. Don't call me. I will not answer. But I check it about 10 minutes a day. And I'll respond sometimes with voicemails, videos. My assistant sometimes helps.